Tangu jana. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You are okay since yesterday? Today we want to take off from where we left yesterday. We talked about costs, planning for costs. We talked about coming up with a budget, a schedule of costs, and so on. So today we want to talk about cost control. All right, and to begin us on cost control, we just want to have an activity which is guided by a case study. Okay, so we want to walk through a simple activity, a simple case that starts us off by helping us answer a few questions. There will be 3 questions in this case. The first question on controlling costs will be how essential are the costs that are involved in the case that we are going to have. And then number 2, what degree of control does the practice owner have over those costs? And when I talk about the practice owner here in the case, I want you to assume that you are an owner of a practice. Okay, and so to you, bring it to your level and be able to say what degree of control do you as a practice owner have over these costs, and then what cost saving strategy again can you develop as a practice owner, and so that when you implement those cost saving strategies, you will really control your costs. Now, our case is, I have copies of this case, and I'll give to everybody, but you will work in groups. And I can see the groups are, I don't want 2 ladies in the same group, you know, so we can have maybe Joyce, right? Joyce, could you join this group? So that, how many are we? We are a total of 12? 1, 2, 3, 4. 11. We are 11. Okay, no problem. Joyce, work with this group so that we can have a well-balanced group. And so you have 3 people, isn't it? But you have a benefit of having a lady with you. So I think it is fine. So kindly take 1 copy each. Talks about a category of costs, basically medical supplies. You can, in your groups, you can read the case together. Maybe 1 person can read the case aloud as the other group members listen. And then we'll come back to the question. So you have about 5 minutes to go through the case as a group, and then answer the questions, the 3 questions that follow. And just in case you need any clarification, please ask. We are all together. Okay, so can we all then look up so that we can 20 questions. So I think given that we are 3 groups, maybe we'll get the first answer, or the answer to the first question from this group. Then to the second question, we'll get it from this group. And then to the third question from this group. And just in case whichever group feels like what has been answered or the response given by the other group is not, there's something they like to add, then you will then feel free to add. So, and we start then with this group. How essential are these costs? These are costs of purchasing medical supplies. How essential are these costs for the business? Yes?
The costs are essential because they contribute or they determine the cost of medical treatment to the patients.
They are essential because they determine the cost of medical treatment for the patient. That is understood. That is agreed upon by all. Is there any other team that had a different or a variation? Yes.
We say that determines the profitability of the business.
Determines the profitability.
About the cost centers are able to compute the profit, and therefore that gives you an indication whether you make losses.
Okay.
Going concern as an entity.
Okay, so he says that proper control of these costs is an indication of profitability, which is good. Yes?
So when we incur these costs in buying the equipment and the drugs, they are very essential because they are the ones that are going to facilitate the delivery of services.
So these costs facilitate the delivery of services. Maybe the only other aspect that you should have considered is the frequency of ordering. You know, these costs are essential. That is what is coming out from all of us, that they are essential. But in terms of the frequency of ordering, you know, frequency of ordering can of course make these costs go up, isn't it? In any business or for any business. Okay. What degree of control does the practice owner have over these costs? What degree of control does the practice owner have over these costs? This group? No control at all? You say, pardon?
Poor control.
Poor control. So just to clarify, you as a practice owner, what degree of control do you have over purchasing medical supplies costs? That is what we are trying to establish. Okay, you as a practice owner. You related to the scenario. Okay, I had actually clarified to take your case as the practice owner.
As the owner, the control of the special kind of supplies and pharmaceuticals that I give more priority. Yeah, so therefore, means that the cost that I'm going to decide to buy a certain kind of medical supplies will come from me as the owner of that practice. Therefore, I have that control, therefore to deviate that from instead of buying some kind of supplies, I'm able to buy some. So that control is there.
Okay, thank you. Amy, in terms of control, we should agree that these costs can be controlled. From a practice point of view, you can control these costs. Yes, Sami?
I think the owner of the establishment has control, because at the end of the day, these costs have to be settled from some kind of an account. So because he's the account holder, at that level he can exercise control.
Okay, so let's just finalize as very fast. Number 3, what cost-saving strategies could be developed and implemented? Let's listen to this group. Yes?
First thing he needs to do is to track usage and replenish only when necessary.
Okay, track usage and replenish only when necessary. Any other? Yes?
It's also to can come up with reorder level system. Whereby at certain number of units, when they are reached, then they can place another order.
Okay.
Based on that.
Thank you. Yes?
It can develop a procurement procedure.
Develop a procurement procedure. And finally?
We can take the business owner for a financial literacy course. It is run by one Austen Baraza.
Thank you very much. So you can see there are so many responses that are coming out from all of us. And in fact, there was even another hand here, so I think during our break time, during our breakout time, we can still continue discussing this, isn't it? And any questions that you may have, we can even go through them. But what I'm happy with is that you all have seen it comes out very clearly that you all relate your practices and your work relates to this case. All right? So thank you very much. We'll see you next tomorrow.
What were the strengths? Yes.
We created a home that is very fast.
What did he say?
He started off in Kiswahili.
I know that. That's why I'm asking what he said.
He asked us how we are, whether we addressed it well, whether we are ready to learn new things.
Great. Thank you. Yes.
Excellent mastery of content.
Yes.
He did a good introduction to the subject.
Mercy?
He was very lively and engaged.
Yes.
Austen has a presence.
Yes.
Yeah, you can feel it. You see it. Comes with the voice projection, subject matter knowledge, and himself.
Yes.
That's a great sense of humor.
Yes.
I liked his movement from one group to the other, that was able to take learning through that kind of movement. Yeah.
Yes.
I also liked the way he was calm and composed. Yeah, so it meant the delivery becomes smooth and very
He guided the discussions very well.
And also, at some point, I think he noticed that the participants, they are somewhere that they are missing the point. And he did not even lose control of it. He was able to get us back into the discussion so that you can understand. Because some of us know now, I think they not do it very well, the way he used to, but he was able to take us back into the discussion.
Yes.
There was a point he was about to, when someone gave an answer, he was about to say that is not right. Then he quickly corrected himself. Which was very good. He corrected it before it came out.
I think maybe it's because of time he didn't check the information class.
Yes.
My observation, and maybe it's a don't, is that when the protection is up, and you're protecting some items on the wall, you're not supposed to, so that happened perhaps unconsciously, but you ought to have maybe come with
It's not standing in front of you. So we got your silhouette. Yes.
Learning at least people's one name, calling them by name, because I realized Austen was always saying yes, so he forgot to call somebody by name.
Because by this time he knows what your names are. Yeah. You're right. All right. Any other strengths?
Feedback.
I'm sorry.
Yes, on strengths and feedback.
Strengths. Okay. I like giving that contextual introduction. this is where we were, and this is what we're doing now. Very polished, clear description, clear instructions, great sense of humor. Put the case questions in context of your own practices. Gave the 5 minutes, checked if, said if you need clarification, ask. Rearranged the groups, walked around, clarified, made clarifications, answered, clarified that the answers, you should be working as a group to come up with the answers. Gave the 1-minute alert, checked to see if the groups were ready. Assigned groups to answer specific questions. Acknowledged the person who couldn't speak during the class time, which I thought was very gracious. Okay. Recommendations. Yes.
When you started the topic, I thought you should have explained what costs are. Because in my group we got a bit confused on the first question. It was not very clear. And we actually spent all the time that was allocated for the 3 questions to think through the first one.
And again, these have been plucked out of context. No other recommendations? Yeah, I asked.
I thought maybe when analyzing what the groups had come up with from the case study, and we were giving our responses on each question, I thought it would have been a good idea to write them down on the flip charts. It's a way of validation or just to confirm that actually, rather than, because I don't think he used the flip chart at all. So I thought maybe when we give our responses and they are not written, so it leaves us a bit like we are not, maybe what you said wasn't that, what he was looking for.
Okay. Okay. When, after people answered question 1, you said, well, and there's also the issue of frequency, right? Which really anticipated an answer to question 3. Because it didn't have anything to do with the essentiality of the costs. So I thought you may not want to do that. Remember to move away from the speakers. So you got very close. So the conversation was to you. And that's all I had. Nicely done. Give them a brief hand, because we are running late now.